I'd like to thank the American Cinematheque and all of you for giving me such a great honor and friendship. It's very encouraging, so it encourages me to keep making good movie for you. So thank you.
As well as directing The Killer, you also wrote the script that the film was based on. What was the genesis of the screenplay for The Killer? Did it start with the character played by Chow Yun-fat? Was it an image? Was it an action sequence?
Well, actually, the idea for the Killer was came from two films. One was from a French film, La Samurai, which was directed by Jean-Pierre Melville. Another one is a Japanese film, a Japanese gangster Yakuza film, which was also one of my favorites. You know, and also was a tribute to Jean-Pierre Melville and Martin Scorsese. And then originally it was the story was only about two cops. You know, one's a good cop and a bad cop. You know, and I was intends to use some new actors to play the role, but somehow the studio didn't let me do it because they wanted to have a big star, you know, like Chow Yun-fat. But Chow Yun-fat was so busy and he was so popular at the time. He had 2 or 3 movies at the same time, so he didn't have time. And even though I made a very successful film like A Better Tomorrow, but I still couldn't open the movie for years, you know. And then and then Chow Yun-fat, I was so frustrated at the time, you know, because I was kind of one of the top directors in Hong Kong, you know, but couldn't get a movie to make. And it was so ironic. You know, I mean, the whole world is the same, they all want big star. And then, but Chow Yun-fat, he's playing front, you know, and when he saw me, you know, he's so depressed, and he asked me why. I said I couldn't get a movie, you know, because I couldn't get a star, you know. And then he said he'd like to help me, and even though he knew he could be, you know, suffering, you know, because and then he talked to the studio. He like support me, and you know, to be part of the movie. So I changed the idea, you know, I changed a story about a killer and a cop. So, and then, you know what, I saw the film with a complete script. You know, I saw the outline. So I just made up a story, and I just some kind of a run-off concept, and then I mean, in Hong Kong we are pretty simple. You know, we just need one meeting. You know, we just talk to the studio and what kind of concept we and then what kind of cast we need, and a rough idea of the budget, and then that's it. And then we are on our own. So we could have full control, you know. So part of the scene, part of the big action sequence was created on the set. You know, so I think it won't happen in this country. Yeah, that's how it happened.
Now, you have a tremendous working relationship with Chow Yun-fat. You'd worked with him several times before this, most famously on Better Tomorrow 1 and 2. Can you talk about how you first met Chow Yun-fat, and when did you first realize, you know, this is the actor for me, and I think we've got something really remarkable here?
Before I Better Tomorrow, I knew nothing about Chow Yun-fat. All I knew was he was a very popular television star, And he did some move, he had done some movie, but all of his movie was flop, and all. And he also got a name. The name was the box office portion. And so, but and then, but I, for the movie, I need a true hero. They care about the people, and a hero with a good heart, So, and I read from the people, they said a lot of great things about Chow Yun-fat, and they were saying Chow Yun-fat, he always like help the poor children, and he was, and he did a lot of charity, and he also like his money with friend, I think a person like that he's my hero. So, and then then I met him, then we set up a meeting, and then I find this guy, he's not only a great actor, and he also is a real man, so, and then, and he was so charming, and had a great charisma, and he's so elegant and so friendly. And so, suppose in the Bear Tomorrow, his part was very small, even though he wasn't a successful actor, but he was still very. He had 2 or 3 movies at the same time at that time. So he only gave me 53 days, something like that. And then after the first day we were shooting, I found and I like him so much that then I increased his role and make his role bigger and bigger. And then he was my dream hero. When I was in high school, my first dream was to be an actor. So I was start on the stage as an actor. I was so proud of myself. I thought I could be a actor. But and then I found I couldn't grow anymore because I found myself too short. And I didn't get a character face or handsome face. At that time, the actor got to be very tall and handsome. So I hate myself. So when I find the Chow Yun-fat, and I think I think he could represent me, and he can do the thing which I couldn't done. I think he could fulfill my dream, So that's why, so that's why I like to work with him, and I like him to represent me, So.
Well, it's almost like that scene where in The Killer where Danny Lee, the cop, describes.
He's a wonderful actor.
Yeah, he's another fantastic performer, but he describes Chow Yun-fat's character and he says, there's almost something heroic about him, and he's very good looking, and there's a passion in his eyes. It's almost like a romantic scene. And there is.
Like a love scene.
Well, there is something. I have to say in this movie, one of the things that is so powerful about it is, and in fact in a lot of your films, particularly in Hong Kong, is there are these very tender, almost romantic undertones to the relationship between the men, and you see that in very few American films, maybe like the westerns of Bud Bedecker. You have that kind of relationship between those two characters is really amazing.
I think for a true friend, you should know how to appreciate each other and admire each other. So so he's I try to get the ideas that that even though they came from a different world, I think they try to get the ideas that deep inside their heart there are a lot of things in common, and actually they're doing the same thing. So that's why I did it that way.
Could you talk about working with Chewie Hark, the producer of the film, produced it through Film Workshop, you worked with him before. When did you first meet and become friends and working collaborators?
Choi Hawk, he's a genius. I really admire his work. So in the mid-70s, he was a television director. Late 70s. At that time, I was pretty famous at that time. I made quite a few successful comedy. Before a better model, I was kind of a comedy director. Yeah. Even though I never smile on set, but, I like to make comedy. And then I like Choi Hawk's work and I admire his talent. So I was suggesting to the studio, give him a chance, that I try to hire him to direct a movie. But the studio didn't care for me. They didn't, and the studio didn't like him much. They said, those young nobody know. So I tried very hard to get him a movie, done. So and then we met each other, and then we talked a lot about film, and then we were met in the bar, the beautiful Hong Kong harbor, and there was sunsets. It's a beautiful sunset outside, and then we both looking at the harbor and said we have to make Hong Kong movie look better. So and then that we become friends. So we have a lot of things in common, so, and then at that time, Choi Hawk was pretty depressed. He hadn't got any chance to get a movie. And then, but I didn't. I gave up. I tried about 2.5 years and tried to talk to the several studios, try to convince the people. To the people, it's great and everything. And then there was a new film called Cinematheque, and they started. And then I highly recommend Choi Hawk to the company, and so they used him and gave him his first movie. And he made a movie called. Sorry, I forgot the name of the movie. And the movie was a huge success. So after he became famous, and I was done. I was my movie didn't work, and then I failed for several movies. But the people who came to watch my comedy and they didn't laugh and they cried. And then I was so frustrated at the time, and at that time Choi Hawk already is a big name director, and then he supports me to make A Better Tomorrow. And then he went to the studio, talked to them, give me a chance, And before A Better Tomorrow, and people said that, people even, said to me, they asked me should quit. Some people even said, they asked me to go home, just watching videotape, just stuff from the beginning, and to learn how to make a, how to make a movie. So I was hurt, as I was deeply hurt because even though my movie was failed, but I truly believe that I'm a good director, So even though, so and my characters, I never let people look down on me, So and then I show you how he encouraged me, and also asked me to put that true feeling into the film. So a lot of the time in Better Tomorrow, it was from my true feeling and experience. Like there was a scene, someone first says, "I've never let anybody stick a gun on my head." It means that I will never let people knock me down. So that's why the movie was so successful and so emotional because it all came from the real experience. Yeah. So and then showing how I became a very friend. So that's why I would like to put this kind of friendship into every of my movie. About the killer, there's one person I also never get, and it's my friend Terry Chang, and also my good partner. There was a story about a killer. Well, even though Choi Hak and I was a very good friend, but we still find that we have some kind of a creative difference in that. And then after I finished the film, there were not much people care about the movie. Some people didn't like the movie. Some people even have a problem with the killer, and some. I even had I think I got all the slow motion shots. So I was so frustrated, and then and the film was put it on, and my friend turned. He was the company. He was so angry about it. After he saw the film, he loved it, and then he took the film. Went all over the world and to all kinds of film festivals, show a film. And he went to and he took the film to Toronto Film Festival, Venice, Cannes, and everywhere to show the film for everyone. And then that film drew a lot of good attention, And then I'm so grateful to my friend, and. All he said to me was, he said, a good movie should let everybody see it, And he did it, and he did it for me, and for nothing, and he didn't even let me know about it, So such a good friend, So because of the killer, draws so much attention, and also draw and also made a lot of people in Hollywood, knows about the film, and then they keep, calling me and sending me a script, and also inviting me to come over this country to make a Hollywood film. So that's one of the great memory from the killer is my friend Terrence.
That's really wonderful. There's a beautiful romantic score for the film by Lowell Lowe.
Yeah.
And one of the theme songs sung by Sanye, who plays Jenny in the film. Could you talk a little bit about working with the composer Lowell Lowe and what you kind of told him you were looking for in terms of the theme music?
Lowell Lowe was one of the Lowell Lowe was one of the great composers in Hong Kong, and he was studying from here. He loved jazz, he loved all kind of classical music. So for this film, very funny, and since the movie was a tribute to all those classical European film. So I want everything from in this movie. It got to be all look. It got to be all have the European feeling. So about the music, because I had a problem for speaking. I have a hard time to describe what kind of music should I was good for the movie. So I just told him just like the French movie, just like the French music, and he got the what the French music. So I gave him a lot of the French composer Michel de got music to him, let him to listen to it. And and he got the idea. He's so clever, I guess he was the only one who knew what the movie about, and he was the only one who knew this is a very, very romantic film. Because when I'm making that film, is that none of the people, even the actor, they have no clue what the movie about, what the movie gonna look like. And even though the DP, and they thought it might be another Egger tomorrow. Sometimes when I describing a shot, I said, okay, just like a French, like a tracking like this, and through the window we see a same shot and tracking. He said, Johnson, what's the idea? I said, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, just like a French film. And then I said, I did a white house, by the beach, and it looked very bright, and it feel a lot of hope and a lot of beauty, okay, and just like a French house, just like a French house. I think so. All my crews, they all have a hard time to get everything. So like the scene, the German fast house with the tall windows. We have spent about 2 months to find that little house, So that's how I work with on the film with a composer as well, So when I'm making that film, I feel myself it's just a ranger. It's hard to get anybody to understand what I'm thinking, because there were a lot of new experiments in the film. Not only the story, also the cinema photographer and the acting and the production design. It's all new for everyone. So and then there was a two DP for the film. So the first DP was Power. He was a DP for Crouching Tiger, and he just got the Academy Award for the film. And he quit in the hard way because he didn't understand the film. And then so we hired another DP to finish the film. And my producer also did kind of cool, because since I was shot without a script, so I just told them, okay, this scene I need 25 kill 30 people, that's it, and 25 swing days, and he tried to save the girl, and Danny Lee covered him, that's it. So so this whole put everything all together. And then they got a picture, and then they got the idea. Oh, they said the movie is so romantic. So it was a fun thing.
Did you have any problems with censorship regarding the film, either in Hong Kong or when it was released overseas? Were you asked to make any cuts to tone down the body?
No, I have no problem with that. And I think the Hong Kong censorship people did pretty well. And I guess they were pretty generous to me, So they maybe they like me. So sometimes is there any problem, for the certain scene, there was a shot, that Soviet fired, he fired 10 shots, killed a guy, right? And then they would give me a call, Mr. Wu, I like this shot very much. But we think so much. If you can turn it down like 5. So the five gunshots still can get quite don't you agree? So I said, okay, fine. And then I just dream a little bit. So, I mean, talk like that, and especially like a scene in A Better Tomorrow. There was a shot in Joe he got punched in the nose, and he got a bleeding shot, and the shot was so horrifying because it looked so real, and so many blood, and there was just a cut shot, cut it out. So I just explained to them, that moment is very important, for the character, and also that was a shot to show how bad or how cruel the gangster, and is I mean because if we cut this short house, so the whole idea going to be ruined, So they accept my idea, and so they pass. So they're very nice to me. Only in Malaysia or Singapore have a little problem because they're pretty tough on every movie, So they didn't even allow to have any kissing scene, kissing shot, So I remember my movie. My movie Once a Thief. I mean, the whole movie was, how these two guys stealing a painting. And the painting was a half-naked women. It's very pretty and a very famous painting. So, and then in Singapore, about that painting, they all cut it out. So two heroes, they're stealing nothing, So when they try to steal the painting, when they swing, try to get a painting, and they cut. So they're just swinging around, and then. But in general, my movie didn't have any problem with any censorship.
Do we have any questions from the speaker? Speak your question out loudly. Speak your question out loudly, so we hear it.
I was just what differences you found in directing for a Hong Kong audience and directing for Hollywood studio.
Of course, for the Hong Kong film, we have a lot of creative freedom. There's no doubt about it. Because since our market is so small, so we don't need to worry about that much. So we just did whatever. There were not many people involved. The director was the auteur. He controlled everything, and and the studio is not allowed to see any footage. So we only gave them the answer prints, as simple as that. Because we have so much confidence, because everyone, including the actor and the studio, all they a good movie, and also kind of like the family business. But in Hollywood, there's a lot more difficult because the people here they love meetings. They love they like to. I think they spend too much time and money and energy on the meetings. And sometimes we take a 6 months for a meeting for nothing, and then always talking about the same thing, and then I think it was 6 months I could make another movie,
And then I was like to talk to the people. Why don't you, give that money for some for young filmmaker and some student and make a short film? I mean, this is nice. And then but listen to me. And then they still like to have a meeting. And then I've never known that there are so many people involved, and even though there's a meeting with a costume designer, so all those executives, the producers, all kind of producers, there's so many producers here. I don't know that. All kind of producers, they all like to attend the meeting. They all like to know what's happening, and it became some kind of ego thing. And then beside the meeting, and I never know the star has so much power. So and they could have the final script approval. They have the supporting cast approval. They have the editing approval. So I was so confused. In Hong Kong, only the director have all kind of approval. So like in The Killer, when I was cutting the film, some people from the studio, they came in, they stepped in, they said, "John, why so many slow motion? It will slow down the whole pace. It will slow down the movie. We want the movie shorter and shorter, And then I look at him, I just give him a look. And then I grab the door, slam his face. But it's hard to do it in this, So I think all those things just make a lot of confusion, and I feel so sad sometimes. If you're not doing things like that, Hollywood will make a lot of great movies. So and then but besides that, I must say that I'm still very happy. I feel very happy to work here, and I find that the people here, they are very talented, very professional. The crew and the cast and crew, they are very dedicated. And I was so grateful and honored to work with people here. I remember for my first American movie, Hot Target. We have so many problems, so much trouble. And then the crew, they were so nice. We shot the film in New Orleans. We have got a lot of huge storm, rain, but we have to set up some shot. Those people they didn't mind working in the storm, in the lightning. And I saw the lightning just came down right beside them. And they still set up all the track, all the crane for me, and wait until the rain gone, and then I get a shot. They were so nice, and also it was so nice to learn the people here. Of course, in Hong Kong, we can make a lot of good movie, but technically still not that perfect, So I could have a chance to learn how to make a special effect film, and like my new movie, Wind Talkers. I also have a chance to make a war movie. It's one of my dream movies. People here are really, really professional. And but in the meantime, I also like to thank everyone, for giving me the great support. This kind of meeting, I haven't had it before in Hong Kong, So you people are very warm and very nice, and it's always maybe very moved and grateful.
Well, I hate to wrap it up, but we do have a second show starting in just a few minutes of Hard Boiled, which Mr. Wu is going to introduce. I'd like to thank you enormously for joining us here tonight. Once again, the great John Woo.
Thank you. Thank you so much.